Welcome everybody to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. In today's show, Bitcoin price test 27,000 support as the Fed holds interest rates at the FOMC. And quoting Max Kaiser, you can only create Bitcoin's absolute scarcity and true decentralization once. I'll be breaking down the two reasons why, as well as Bitcoiners stack them up as the inactive Bitcoin supply hits yet another all-time high. Send it. We'll also be discussing Grayscale files for a new Ethereum futures ETF. I'll be breaking down this official report, as well as Bitcoin NFT Ordinals creator proposes to change the inscription numbering system, as well as on-chain analyst William Clemente says a setup for Bitcoin becoming increasingly favorable. I'll be breaking down his latest analysis, as well as sharing with you the most bullish Bitcoin price prediction in Crypto News Alerts history. We have a crypto veteran investor predicting the Bitcoin price reaching a valuation of $7 billion per coin. I'll be breaking down the math of why he believes this is possible. And we'll also be comparing it to Fidelity's $1 billion Bitcoin price prediction. And we'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And a quick reminder, be sure to smash that like button as it helps out tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, 7 days a week, just like this. And welcome everyone just joining us. This is pod episode number 1407. I'm your host, JV. Today is September 20th, 2023. And we just got the latest from Jay Powell at the FOMC. Lots to share with you today. So without further ado, let's dive right in. But be sure to say hello in the live chat and let me know where you're tuning in from. I greatly appreciate that. So here we go. Checking out Coin360, we can see Bitcoin currently correcting down about 1% for the day, trading just on the cusp of 27,000. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, we're sitting just above that $1 trillion milestone, which we have been sitting at for quite some time, with about 27 billion in volume in the past 24 hours, with the Bitcoin dominance at 49.2% and the Ether dominance at 18.2%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers of the past 24 hours, we got Maker leading the pack, up 5.5%, trading above $1,329, followed by Aave, up 4%, trading above $64, followed by Flare, up almost 3%, trading just above 1.1 cents. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers of the past week, you can see the majority currently in the red, with a handful in the green, including PLS, which is up a whopping 32%, clearly leading the pack, with one of the biggest losers being RLB, down 11.2%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, one of my favorite indicators, shows we're currently rated a 47, so we're back in neutral. Yesterday was a 46 in fear, last week a 41, and last month a 38 in fear. So there you have it, fam. How many of you have been taking advantage of this recent Bitcoin dip? If so, put BTFD in the comments section. And now let's break down our Bitcoin technical analysis and check out the price action and what is currently happening and popping off in the Bitcoin market. As you can see here, Bitcoin saw snap volatility September 20th as the US Fed maintained interest rates at 20-year highs. As we can see here, the Bitcoin price action. Now data from Cointelegraph and TradingView followed price action as it reacted to the rate decision, accompanying commentary from the Fed chairman, Jay Powell. The FOMC opted to keep the rates at their previous level set in July of this year. Quoting them here, the committee seeks to achieve maximum employment and inflation at the rate of 2% over the longer run. And they also shared, in support of these goals, the committee decided to maintain the target range for the federal fund rates of 5 to 5.5%. The move was overwhelmingly expected ahead of time by the markets, with a 99% probability of a rate hike pause already in place per data from the CME's group FedWatch tool. The Fed's language remained cautious over the future of inflation, with no guarantee that conditions would become more lax. Quoting them again, in assessing the appropriate stance of monetary policy, the committee will continue to monitor the implications of incoming info for an economic outlook. The committee would be prepared to adjust the stance of monetary policy as appropriate if risks emerge that could impede the attainment of the committee's goals. The release continued. So there you have it. In reacting, we had crypto analyst Mikhail Van de Popp, who shared the future prediction. No rate hike from the Fed. My best guess. We are done with the hiking policy. Bitcoin is likely to start trending up from here. Yes, a fake out usually happens at the news. And I think he makes a great point. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the analyst. Now, the price action saw jitters as the decision came, with Jay Powell still to complete his speech at this time. The road is getting inflation down to Fed's 2% target, he said, and had a long way to go. If the economy evolves as projected, the median participant projects that the appropriate level of the federal funds rate will be 5.6% by the end of the year, 5.1% at the end of next year, 2024, and 3.9% at the end of 2025. I guess so much for hopeful thinking, right? We all know that the inflation is truly way higher than what they're anticipating. Anyways, Powell noted that the median projection for the end of the year was unchanged from before, but it moved up 0.5% for the end of the next 2 years. So there you have it, fam. And quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, you can only create Bitcoin's absolute scarcity and true decentralization once for the following 2 reasons. Number 1, going forward, it's impossible to argue there was no intention to profit, and that means you are an unregistered security. And number 2, it's impossible to be more decentralized than perfect decentralized Bitcoin, so the network effects will never materialize. So there you have it, fam. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the high priest. And how many of you watched Nayib Bukele and his speech to the United Nations last night? I watched it last night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm curious if you guys tuned in, and if so, what are your thoughts? Now let's break down our next story of the day, and that's the inactive supply for Bitcoin reaching yet another all-time high. And as I reported yesterday, the hash rate also just hit a new all-time high, which is more bullish fundamentals for the network. So let's break this down, and welcome to y'all just joining us. Be sure to say hi in the live chat. Don't be a stranger, fam. Now, on-chain data suggests the Bitcoin hodlers are accumulating Bitcoin, with exchange hodlings down to yearly lows, and the percentage of inactive Bitcoin supply hits new all-time highs. According to Glassnode's Bitcoin supply last active chart, the inactive Bitcoin that has not moved from an address for more than 1 to 3 to 5 year timeframes has been hitting all-time highs since July of this year. These metrics are mirrored by Bitcoin analytics from CoinMarketCap, which tracks the wallet addresses by how long they have been holding a Bitcoin, and has estimated 69% or 36.8 million addresses have held Bitcoin for over a year. When my long-term hodlers out, make some noise, fam. Crypto quant charts also reflect the Bitcoin outflows from the exchanges, which have steadily declined from July of 2021, with just over 2 million Bitcoin remaining on the exchanges. Can you say incoming supply shock, fam? Especially with the Bitcoin halving and ETF approvals around the corner. Let's go. The CoinGlass Bitcoin on the exchanges tracker breaks down the circulating Bitcoin held by the major centralized exchanges, which you can clearly see right here. Binance tops the list with some 543,281 Bitcoin on its books, but the exchange has seen significant Bitcoin outflows over the past 30 days, with 21,645 BTC withdrawn just in the last month. Next up, we have Coinbase Pro's Bitcoin balance of 530 Bitcoin, which leaves it second on the list, with the US-based exchange also having 3,612 BTC withdrawn from its platform over the last 30 days. Next up, we have OKX, which is the only exchange in the top 10 that recorded a significant inflow of Bitcoin in the last 30 days. Interesting, right? With 4,630 BTC being moved onto the platform over the past month. Now, market commentators as well as analysts have delivered lofty predictions of potential value of Bitcoin, with its highly anticipated mining rewards halving set to take place in 2024, which is approximately only 6 months out. I think we're going to have a supply shock, which we have never experienced before in Bitcoin history, especially at the institutional level, because to offer an ETF, they have to be holding the underlying asset. And at this point, I don't think BlackRock is holding millions of Bitcoin. Currently, the largest hodler of Bitcoin in the world is the GBTC product, which is owned by Genesis, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. They currently hold over 600,000 BTC. And next up on the list is MicroStrategy, which was the first publicly traded company to put Bitcoin on its balance sheet. They currently hold over 152,000 BTC. That's Michael Saylor's company. So yeah, incoming supply shock, send it, and let's go as we march on to new all-time highs this bull cycle. All right, now let's break down our next story of the day and discuss Grayscale launching an Ethereum futures ETF. Interestingly enough, let's break this one down. Here we go. Grayscale. Digital currency investment company Grayscale is the latest firm to file with the SEC for a new Ether futures ETF. September 19th, yesterday, Grayscale proposed listing and trading shares of the Grayscale Ethereum Futures Trust ETF under the New York Stock Exchange ARCA Rule 8.200-E. The proposal is pursuant for the provisions of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 and the rule change submitted by the NYSE to the SEC. The ETF managed by Grayscale Advisors also referred to it as the sponsor in the filing. Quoting them here, the sponsor is in the process of becoming registered as a commodity pool operator with the CFTC and is in the process of becoming a member of the National Futures Association, the document reads. It also states that Grayscale Advisors have engaged Vinent Advisory as a sub-advisor to serve as the trust's commodity trading advisor. The Grayscale Ethereum Futures Trust seeks to maintain its holdings in Ethereum futures contracts with a roughly constant expiration profile, the filing reads, adding that it will never carry futures positions all the way to cash settlement. Now, the nature of the Ether futures contracts in the ETF will not require the trust to use an Ethereum custodian, the filing reads. Gets more interesting, quoting them here. The trust will deposit an initial margin amount to initiate an open position in the future contracts. A margin deposit is like a cash performance bond. It helps assure the trader's performance of the future contracts that he or she purchases or sells. Now, the news comes a week after the digital asset management firm Valkyrie also filed for an Ethereum futures ETF with the SEC mid-August, a few weeks ago, following several other firms filing for Ether future ETFs. On August 17th, Bloomberg reported the SEC was set to allow the first ETFs based on Ether futures, spurring much optimism regarding the Ethereum market. And then, of course, as we all know, last month, big news, Grayscale scored a major, though partial, victory against the SEC in its efforts to convert its over-the-counter Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which is their GBTC product, into a listed spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States. The SEC rejected its GBTC app, after which Grayscale sued. The appeals court ordered that Grayscale's petition for review be granted and that the SEC's order to deny the GBTC listing app be vacated. Now, this victory, despite not guaranteeing the eventual listing of a Grayscale spot Bitcoin ETF, was still greeted with enthusiasm by the community. I mean, every time we get a big fat W against the SEC, that's triumphant in my humble opinion. And I ain't talking about Wu-Tang, Triumph, one of my favorite classic songs back in the day, just saying. But anyways, what are your thoughts? Do you think the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust will likely get converted into a spot Bitcoin ETF? And which do you think will get the green light first? Will it be BlackRock's application? Could it be Grayscale? Could it be Valkyrie? Could it be Fidelity? Could it be ARC21, Kathy Wood's company? Let me know your humble thoughts. My opinion is that we're likely, once we get the first approval, I think it's going to be like a domino effect, which is going to be tremendous. As we all know, there's trillions of dollars currently sitting on the sidelines, just waiting to be invested into Bitcoin. And with a very modest market cap at today's market, we have roughly a $500 billion Bitcoin market cap. That's nothing, as literally trillions are going to be ushered into the Bitcoin market, which can send the price parabolic, entering price discovery mode, ultimately hitting new all-time highs. So I personally can't wait. And with that being shared, fam, now let's discuss the latest with Bitcoin ETFs and Ordinals and some changes which are occurring according to their creator, which is interesting. And how many of you have ever used a Bitcoin Ordinal before? Let me know in the comments. I appreciate it. Bitcoin Ordinals creator and chief coder Casey Rodarmer has recently proposed changing the protocol's numbering system with the aim of simplifying the project's code base. Since the beginning of the Ordinals protocol, each NFT created using Ordinals was assigned a unique inscription number. They function similarly to serial numbers and have been an integral part of the digital art minted in the protocol. And here's Casey on X announcing what he's looking to do. Now, Rodarmer believes that keeping the inscription numbers stable has led to ugly code as well as stalling development. Because of this, the protocol's chief coder proposed to make inscription numbers permanently unstable, which means that the numbering numbering system that assigns unique numbers to inscriptions created in the Bitcoin network will be deprioritized. And according to him, the move will simplify the protocol's code base and make it easier to make protocol changes easier in the future. The coder also clarified that inscription numbers would change but not be entirely scrapped. He also highlighted that the new inscription numbers would be close to the old ones but might differ by 1%. Now, while many supported the move, others pointed out how users paid substantial amounts to get specific numbers, which would be affected by the reorganization of the numbers. But despite this, a community member noted that those who care about the numberings of the inscriptions can still sort the collectibles by their timestamps. Now, Bitcoin ordinals are artifacts that allow inscribing into a Satoshi, which is the smallest denomination of Bitcoin. As we know, one Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million sats. The protocol launched in January of this year in 2023 with thousands of inscriptions minted on the Bitcoin network since, and on August 21st, the NFT-like protocol accounted for virtually 85% of all the activity in the Bitcoin network, which was ultimately causing lots of congestion. And so therefore, Bitcoin ordinals has been receiving mixed vibes. But what are your thoughts? Are you a fan of NFTs, especially on the Bitcoin blockchain? And like I said, have you ever used ordinals or planning on using them in the future? Let me know, chat, and I'll be reading everyone's comments out loud here in just a little bit. Now let's discuss a big Bitcoin setup brewing, according to on-chain analyst William Clemente, and then we'll dive into our $7 billion bullish price prediction, which is officially the most bullish price prediction ever shared in crypto news alerts history. And then we'll wrap up with our live Q&A. Welcome again, everyone just joining us and tuning in the live chat. Here we go. While he followed crypto analyst and Bitcoin bull William Clemente, says that there is a large-scale macro setup now forming for the King Crypto. Bring it. Addressing his 700,000 followers on X, Clemente says the U.S. economy is now in a position where it absolutely has to issue more dollars in order to service its debt. The analyst says that given the probability of the U.S. expanding its money supply much further over the next few years, significant currency debasement will be inevitable. I agree with the analyst. Quoting Clemente here, why would you not just continue debasing the debt away? At this point, we have continued to do so for so long that the amount of debt we have accumulated relative to the GDP leaves only one realistic option to avoid defaulting, which is monetary debasement. Many would consider the structure of what the U.S. is doing to be a Ponzi scheme. Breach, as they issue debt that's paid down by issuing more monetary units and newly issued debt. Now, with the trend of rapid money printing likely to continue, Clemente considers which assets will likely be best performing. He says that out of the stock market, commodities, real estate, and even venture and angel investing, Bitcoin still looks like the most promising. 100%. Quoting him here, commodities seem like a decent long-term bet, but ultimately the choosing of which largely can boil down to scarcity, utility, and monetary properties. While gold has traditionally been widely viewed as the go-to commodity to own during periods of debasement, after the next Bitcoin halving, the digital asset will have a higher stock-to-flow ratio than both gold and silver, while also being more transportable, divisible, verifiable, and provably scarce than all other commodities on the planet. Preach. And with a growing portion of Americans feeling economically disenfranchised or left behind, Clemente says they will ultimately seek alternative assets and economic systems, setting the stage for a large wave of Bitcoin adoption. I believe these dynamics will create a preconditioning for a willingness to adopt an alternative monetary system. And with the existence of an escape valve via Bitcoin today, my money is the first successful iteration of digital scarcity becoming adopted by society. Not to mention, a similar dynamic takes place on the nation state level, with the U.S. itself benefiting from the dollar system and others not. Meanwhile, combined with the structural trends of debt and demographics and the obvious trend of the world becoming increasingly digital, the setup for Bitcoin is becoming increasingly favorable. All to say, over a decade plus time horizon, orange coin good. Preach. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the on-chain analyst. I firmly believe that Bitcoin is the best, investment, as it has the most upside potential, and it is scarce with a finite, limited supply. There has never been an ETF approval or an ETF in the history of the world that has had a finite, limited supply. So therefore, you can't compare it to the other commodities, gold and silver and precious metals, etc. It's on its own vector, and so therefore, therefore, it is the greatest. It is perfect money, and nothing's going to be able to stop it. I firmly believe, with or without the approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States next year in 2024, the halving alone will take Bitcoin to a new price discovery mode, which ultimately means a new all-time high, and six figures above and beyond is inevitable. Just saying. Let me know if you agree or disagree, fam. And now for our most bullish price prediction ever shared on the Crypto News Alerts live podcast, and that's $7 billion per coin, according to Peter Dunworth. So let's break this down, and then I'm going to compare it to Fidelity's $1 billion Bitcoin price prediction as well from their head of macro, Jurrien Timmer. So here we go. And again, shout out to everyone out there in the live chat. I appreciate all the support. First, I want to I transcribed what he shared in this interview. This was shared roughly a week and a half ago on the What Bitcoin Did podcast with Peter McCormack. He interviewed Peter Dunworth, and he went on to share the first valuation framework is simple, that there is $6.3 trillion of global trade that happens on a daily basis. And if you divide $6.3 trillion by the 900 Bitcoin that are minted on the day, you get a $7 billion coin. So there you have it. That's the math. One of the formulas he used to justify that $7 billion price prediction. Let me know if you agree or disagree, fam. Now, in the exclusive interview, and I'm going to encourage you all to check it out, the What Bitcoin Did podcast, we had Dunworth, who runs a multi-family office catering to high net worth families. He shed light on the significance of Bitcoin in Australia and expressed his concerns regarding the bank's unwillingness to embrace the crypto despite its immense potential as the most undervalued collateral in the world. Dunworth's analysis, the Bitcoin valuation, is based on a simple framework, which I just shared with you. He points out that there's a staggering 6.3 trillion worth of global trade occurring on a daily basis. And then if you divide that 6.3 trillion by the 900 Bitcoin minted on the day, you get a $7 billion coin. Let's go. According to the current inflation rate of Bitcoin, it's technically possible to mine up to 900 Bitcoins per day. This rate is influenced by a process called the halving, which occurs every 4 years and cuts the inflation rate in half. However, it's important to note that this figure represents the total amount of Bitcoin entering circulation within 24 hours and is not accessible to individual miners. Now, here's a reality check by the author here. If each Bitcoin's value reaches 7 billion, we can calculate the potential market cap by multiplying this value by the total supply of Bitcoin. And with a maximum supply of 21 million BTC, that would give us a market cap of $147 trillion. Now, I also got to point out, as Michael Saylor has infamously shared, the total addressable market of all the money in the world, the total addressable market is north of $700 trillion. So theoretically, is it a probability that the Bitcoin market cap capture 150 trillion of the 700 trillion total addressable market? Yeah, anything's possible. So these numbers are off the charts. Now let's compare it to one of the largest asset managers in the world, which currently control over 4.5 trillion in assets under management, as their head of macro shared a $1 billion price prediction for the King Crypto as well. And we'll compare that to this other guy saying we're going to hit 7 billion, and we'll break that down. So here we go. This was something initially shared a couple of years back in 2021 in September. One Bitcoin may be worth $1 billion by 2038, according to the second largest asset manager in the world, which is Fidelity. So here we go. One Bitcoin may be equivalent to $1 billion by 2038, according to Jurrien Timmer, director of global macro of Fidelity. Timmer backed up his assertion with the 4-hour chart that combined the stock-to-flow model with his demand model. And here's what he said in his own words. Metcalfe's law holds that as the number of its users grow linearly, a network's value grows geometrically. The implication is that the utility value of Bitcoin will outgrow its operational network. This operational network encompasses buyers, sellers, exchanges, and ATMs, and in addition, also includes participating retailers, both directly and indirectly, and some leading organizations such as the Dallas Mavericks and AT&T. Rounding out this network are a few insurers, several banks, and a multitude of small businesses. Now, Timmer's own demand model grows very slowly in proportion to the stock-to-flow combination supply model. The asset manager's director's demand model predicts that Bitcoin will reach $1 million per coin by 2030. And on the other hand, the stock-to-flow combo model forecasts a price between $1 million and $10 million per coin by 2030. Now, Plan B, creator of the Bitcoin stock to flow model, he recently updated this, and he is now projecting between a $100,000 and $1 million Bitcoin price post-halving in 2024. Now, Jerry and Timmer's demand model seems to historically represent the floor or the bottom of the price. The stock to flow appears to be a better fit for the peak. However, do note the gap between both models widens significantly after the year 2030. That's when things get very interesting. One of the suggested reasons for the widening gap after 2030 is the change in the value of the dollar. So it should be noted that this is the reasoning and it is not set in stone. So virtually, Timmer stated that the value of the dollar changes in relation to other assets. He further pointed out that just a dollar invested into stocks in the 18th century would be worth about $4 billion in today's money. Now, going by this assumption, $1 million today can be worth $1 billion in 20 years' time. Now, changes in the dollar's value, especially depreciation over several decades, render the same amount with less purchasing power. This is why huge sums back then appear less by today's standards. For instance, $1 million could purchase a lot of significant things a few decades ago. But to put this into perspective, reasonably higher-end houses in the U.S. cost between $200,000 and $500,000. So the same $1 million may not suffice for the same class of houses today. So there is an increasing number of billionaires across the globe. Some observers even believe that we may see the first trillionaire in this lifetime. How many of you believe the first trillionaire will be a Bitcoin holder? Let me know, fam. The same applies to organizations, with several companies now passing the 1 trillion market cap valuation. Now, Fidelity previously pegged Bitcoin to hit 100 million by 2035 using the same stock to flow model. Now, Jerry and Timmer also made those predictions back then, and untested and uncertain Timmer's predictions are he is not the only one with such lofty forecasts. We also have Deutsche Bank also forecasting that the Bitcoin price will dominate by 2030. So there you have it, fam. You just heard two predictions of a Bitcoin price target of $1 billion north. I shared with you the veteran crypto investor, Peter Dunworth, predicting $7 billion per coin. And I also shared with you Fidelity, the second largest asset manager in the world, also predicting $1 billion price action for the King crypto by the year 2038. Let me know if you agree or disagree in the comments right down below. Massive shout out to everyone in our live chat. If you gain value out of today's episode, the greatest compliment you can do to help support this movement is smash that like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel, as it helps out tremendously, and I greatly appreciate everyone's support. We also have a new channel I recently released 2 weeks ago. It's our Clips channel, which can be found at clips.cryptonewsalerts.net. We're already approaching 300 subscribers, and every day we're taking shorts and clips from this live stream and adding them to the new channel. They could only exclusively be found on the new channel, hence the importance of subscribing and supporting the new channel. Also, I do go live simultaneously every single day, 7 days a week, not only here on YouTube, but also on Rumble. So if you prefer tuning in on Rumble, I appreciate that. And if you're not already following me on Rumble, I encourage you to follow me, and vice versa if you're not following me on YouTube, but you're only following me on Rumble, etc. Now, shout out to everyone. Passive Income with AI, LMP, MK still stacking, Jixer, Knox Bill, Two Show, what up? Matt, what's good, fam? Coin Father. We have a lot of the fam in the house. Digital Dankness. Shout out to our mods. Melda the Witch. What is up? Always a pleasure, fam. Good to see you guys. Kosanarm, welcome. Atroverse, I see a lot of new users as well in the building. Robert Brady, what is up? Matt K, what is good? Good to see you guys. Zap Ingram, McLovin, Sentoso, Mike Butte, what is up? Lavar, Stangeland, BTFD, that's what's up. Greg Miranda, DCA Bitcoin No Alts, $0 G Row, Doug Joseph. Love it. I appreciate the interaction very, very much. McLovin in the building. I hope everyone has a great day. Hope you guys are ready to rock. It's going to be a very exciting times ahead of us, especially in the Bitcoin market. 7 billion. Now we're talking, baby. You already know Knox Bill. Dankness points out at 7 billion per coin. That's roughly 147 quadrillion market cap. That's more than the entire world's wealth. 450 trillion as of 2021. Knox Bill points out the aliens are bringing their wealth into Bitcoin. Digital says JV and I were talking and mentioned that for that to be a probability, the world's wealth would have to be 100x from the current value. That's saying the dollar is worth less than the peso. I know. Very interesting, right? Another $1 million Bitcoin. Will Bitcoin need to implement sub-Satoshis? Anything is possible. When we cross that bridge, we'll discuss it, right? 100 millionth of a Satoshi. Wouldn't that be something? Paul Fryer says the moon is near. Word up. We all know that's a fact. We have a Bitcoin halving around the corner. We all know Bitcoin run by 4-year cyclical cycles. What's up, Knox Bill? JV set it on fire. You already know. This is pod episode number 1407. Let's freaking go. Looking like a very interesting show, says Robert Brady. I appreciate that. Matt K says he finally got to tune in live. I appreciate you tuning into the live show. Everyone, please smash that like. I appreciate the support. What up, Jack Jiong? What up, George? What up? Good to see you. Party time, says Knoxville. KCC, DCA. That's what's up. Let's do this, says Passive. Let's go. What up, JV? Haven't been able to catch you live those odd times, but welcome back for 3 p.m. I guess everyone's in a different time zone. I went live today at 4 p.m. Eastern, which is also 4 p.m. here in Puerto Rico. Times do change. That's why it's important to make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. That way you're notified each and every day I go live, as I do switch it up from time to time, especially with the schedule of my daughter with going to school. What up, Andy Surfer? Good morning. Good to see you. Victor Viz. Hello. Pleasure. Hello, fam from the UK. Shout out to Baz Dragon. I love to be a billionaire, says Melda the Witch. We're word up. You can become a Satoshi billionaire and make that a reality before becoming a US dollar billionaire. You know what I mean? And I think those who stack the most sats now are most likely to become USD billionaires as well. You know what I mean? Hodling long, all or nothing, says Greg Miranda. That's what's up. I can definitely relate to being all in there. Mike Wells says Fidelity sucks. Word. What sucks so much about them? Let me know. Hey, Baz. What up, Barry BTC? Massive shout out to Holland. What's up, Punchy Coffee 20? Hit that like, bros. I appreciate that. What's up? Love the show and the Discord, says James Obleton. And thanks for reminding me. If you're not already plugged into our Crypto News Alerts Discord server, I highly encourage you to join us so you can connect with like-minded Bitcoiners, just like you see here on the show in the live chat. It's discord.cryptonewsalerts.net. We have a lot of very active channels in there, which includes an Ask a Question chat, the $100,000 Fiesta chat. When we cross that 6-figure mark, we're going to be having a Fiesta here in Puerto Rico to celebrate. There's a Meetups channel. There's a Share Your Channel. There's the General channel, the Meme channel, the Charts channel. It's all free to all the users. And there's a great question coming from our Ask a Question channel. Thankness asks, can Bitcoin provide a more transparent and traceable alternative to traditional channels and help combat embezzlement and bribery within the governments? 100%, because it's a public ledger. So that means everything is recorded and there can't be any trickery. There can't be anything changed. Once it's recorded every 10 minutes in a block, it's permanent on the ledger for life. Whereas if we don't hold them accountable to using blockchain technology for transparency, expect no transparency, because nothing is transparent with the US government whatsoever. So to answer your question, yes, it will absolutely be a game changer. And I hope that ushers in the transparency we've all been waiting for from our government, because the government is supposed to work for the people, not against the people. And blockchain, in my opinion, will help us hold the government accountable so that they must do what's in the best interest for the people versus continuing to embezzle money from us all the various different ways they do so. So excellent question, fam. I appreciate you asking that. What's up? Norway in the building, says Livar Stangeland. I appreciate you tuning in, fam. What up? Shout out to the Coin Father, representing Wisconsin, Madison. Good to note. New York City, BTFD JV. We got Ellen in the building. Good to see you. How you doing, Ellen? What's new? How's the garden going? Tim's Crypto. Good afternoon, Tim. Appreciate you tuning in. My son goes to UW, says Matt. U.S. 10-year Treasury yields jumped 4.3% after the Fed meeting statement. U.S. 2-year Treasury yields are 5.1%, the highest since 2007. We all know what happened in 2008, the collapse of the financial system, hence why Bitcoin was virtually introduced in 2009, the Genesis block, as a result of the corruption from the banking sector. So this, can it be deja vu all over again? What do you guys think? You know what I mean? Fed officials expect to hold the rates higher for longer in 2024, 2025 than in June projections. Most Fed officials still see more of a 0.25% rate increase in 2023. Word up. I think they're more than likely just going to continue printing until the wheels fall off, as on-chain analyst William Clemente pointed out. Checking in from Japan, smashing that like button. Appreciate that, Zap. Much love, much respect. CoinFather points out that the Fed officials see 3.7% core inflation at the end of 2023, 2.6% at the end of 2024, and 2.3% at the end of 2025. That is right. Doug Joseph says, smash that like. Thank you, fam. Matt says, heck yeah, BTFD and stacking them stats. Good to note. CoinFather says, see stronger GDP growth and lower unemployment 2023, 2024. See 3.8% unemployment at the end of 2023. Word up. I'm canning tomatoes. That's what's up, Ellen. Do what it do. Anyone else stacking sats using Lowly? That's where you can earn cash back for using Bitcoin. I've heard of that app before. I'm currently not actively using it, but I've heard good things about it. So I am curious, Matt, as well, if anyone else is using it. Are you shadow banned? I couldn't find this video. There's a good chance of it. $0 G-Row. It's been very strange, my relationship with YouTube over the years. I've been here 5 years producing content virtually every single day, 7 days a week. And yes, my show 2 years ago, I was getting 30, 40,000 viewers per episode. And then my show kind of went shadow banned, and I don't know what has happened. Who really knows? But it's not going to stop me regardless. That's why I encourage you to follow me on all the other platforms. I'm not only on YouTube. I am on Rumble now. I am on iTunes. I am on Spotify. I'm on every major podcasting platform out there. And we do have a new channel specifically and exclusively for clips and shorts. So just be sure to follow me on all of them, because no one knows what the future holds, especially with YouTube. Good afternoon from Tampa. Oh, wow. My old stomping grounds. Will attempt to stay connected during the transport home. I hope you're okay. It says you're at the VA hospital. I know this. I know Tampa all too well, as I grew up in the Clearwater area. So I hope you're well, fam. Hit the like. Who is next? Says Greg. Word up. It's been all crazy times, so been missing the show. All good, Ellen. I just appreciate tuning in regardless. Chill says, just bought my first Trezor. When setting up the Trezor Suite, PC app keeps timing out. He loses the bridge connection and seems to be buggy. Anyone else have this issue? Maybe update it with the latest firmware. See if that fixes the problem. Also, feel free to reach out to Trezor support. Don't reach out to some random strangers. Reach out directly to Trezor. And also, I encourage you to watch their YouTube tutorial videos coming directly from Trezor. I'm sure they can help you. BTFD, love to hear that. Music to my ears. What up, Mike Butte? Appreciate you tuning in. What's up, JB and fam? Drive in, listen in for now. Let's freaking go. How's Norway treating ya? FOMO like a mofo, says Santoso. Love to hear that. And that has a nice melody to it. Hodl gang, back to my crypto, says Zap. DCA Hodl forever BTC. CoinFather, I just received my USAF retirement orders last week. I'll be staying in Madison permanently. That's what's up. Welcome Lloyd Schultz, 7 billion per coin. Holy cow. Thought a billion was a talking point, but 7 billion, oh well. Yeah, I mean, it is obviously the most bullish price prediction ever shared here. It might even be the most bullish price prediction in Bitcoin history, as personally, I never heard anyone, especially analysts, call for a multiple seven-figure Bitcoin until I just read Peter Dunworth's prediction. And of course, I have to cover it here. But it did remind me of Fidelity's prediction from Jurian Timmer, predicting $1 billion per Bitcoin by the year 2038, with the main logic behind that hyperinflation, as he's ultimately projecting a $1 million price action by 2030. Then due to the collapse of the dollar and hyperinflation, he's virtually saying dollars are going to be worthless. So one Bitcoin can soar to literally $1 billion, because, you know what I mean? How much is $1 billion? I believe it's 1,000 millions. Correct me if I'm wrong, but 1 million 1,000 times equals a billion. You know what I mean? And a billion 1,000 times equals a trillion. And a trillion 1,000 times, I believe, equals quadrillion, unless I'm forgetting another major number we don't commonly use. But that's my understanding of these predictions. Obviously, anything is possible. No one can project where Bitcoin price is going to go next. They're just speculation. But at the end of the day, I mean, the math doesn't lie. We do have a $700 trillion addressable market, and eventually all things will find its way into Bitcoin, in my humble opinion. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. We also have Kathy Wood of ARK Invest projecting a $1 million plus Bitcoin price by the year 2030, which means within the next 7 years, 2 halvings out, as the next halving is roughly 6 months out in 2024, and then we're going to see another halving in 2028. So she's ultimately saying 2 halvings from now, expect the Bitcoin price to soar to $1 million, and her bullish case is actually closer to 1.5 million per BTC, with her bearish case still being above $250,000 per coin, with her base case just above roughly $600,000 per BTC. But what's your thoughts, fam? When do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to reach price discovery mode once again? And how many of you have experienced price discovery mode firsthand from the previous cycle? We witnessed it. I've got to witness it. In 2017, I saw Bitcoin soar from roughly $1,500 a coin all the way up to $20,000. And of course, that was a year of price discovery. And then, like deja vu, 4 years later, we had another halving in 2020. And that's when the market crashed due to COVID. Bitcoin went all the way down to roughly 3,500. And then by the end of 2021, we entered price discovery mode, soaring above the previous all-time high of 20,000 and capping off at 69,000, which is the existing all-time high. Now, we obviously has had a very bearish last year with the collapse of Terra Luna. We had the collapse of FTX being the second largest crypto exchange in the world, and SBF's $30 billion fraud. And it's been very bearish. But guess what? Every 4 years, like clockwork, there is a halving, and the halving drives the price because there's going to be a supply shock. Very limited supply of Bitcoin, as I mentioned already on the exchanges. And when you have a Bitcoin halving, it's going to create more people wanting to get a position in Bitcoin, especially those who have been sitting on the sidelines praying for new all-time lows. They're going to miss out, want their position. And then can you even guess what's going to happen when that spot Bitcoin ETF finally gets the approval and the green light from the SEC? Game on. As I mentioned, there's literally trillions just awaiting to be entered into the Bitcoin market. And those are the 2 biggest catalysts. We got the Bitcoin halving and spot Bitcoin ETF in the United States. And between those 2, we're in unprecedented times that we have never experienced before. They say, history doesn't necessarily repeat, but it often rhymes. We shall soon see, as I'm ready for another deja vu moment. So yeah, you guys let me know what you're most excited for Bitcoin moving forward in the crypto market. Good stuff. Lowly is a Bitcoin and cashback reward site, browser extension, and the app lets you earn rewards when you shop at 25,000 plus stores. Thanks for breaking that down. I'd love a supply shock, says Ellen. Who wouldn't? Lloyd Schultz, I'm cheering for Michael Saylor. That's what's up. Good stuff. You think your credit card, and when you shop at supported stores, you get rewarded in BTC. And over a year, I've received 0.01 in BTC. Good to note, Matt, that it is legit. He says not much, but will be worth it when Bitcoin goes to 7 billion. You already know, fam. Sure, bigger price going forward and more rewards makes sense. Word up. I want Rep Emmer to put the hammer down on Gensler. That's right, Representative Emmer. Doing his thing. He's against CBDCs and has been giving Gary Gensler a hard time. We need more congressmen like him standing by and protecting Bitcoin and crypto 100%. Fidelity will be first, says Passive. And why do you believe that is? Robert says Peter Dunworth's looking to spoil his reputation by making such claims. Quite a stretch. With a maximum supply of 21 million BTC, the market cap would be $147 trillion. Word. Astroverse. Fink owns 87% of the stocks. They just want Bitcoin lower. 12,000 is inevitable. Well, I did hear a statistic, and this is reality. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, they control, as the primary shareholder, like over 80% of the companies in the S&P 500. They even own roughly 8% as a shareholder in MicroStrategy. So they got their hands literally in everything. They're also the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered Bank and so many other companies like Pfizer, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, they have their hand in every piece of the pie imaginable. You know what I mean? Ever thought about the cat out of the bag? Why does it always go back into the bag? You tell me. Why do cats like bags? Are they Louis Vuitton or something? We don't know. The low bottom for Bitcoin was 15.7. We won't see that number again. I agree with you, Ellen. I believe the bottom is in. How many agree with Ellen? Let me know. A Billy, whenever you're smoking, will be 1 Bitcoin is a pound. Word. Glad to see you're back to 3 p.m. I appreciate it. I'm glad it works out for you. Well, today was actually 4 p.m. Here at least. I'll be eating tomatoes all winter. Salsa with eggplant. Yummy. Am I invited over, Ellen? That's the question. I knew for a $7 billion price, the dollar would be worthless. I compared it to the peso. You hit the nail on the head, Dankness. Shout out to Dankness. Crypto News Alert Stackers, another great episode, JV. Thank you, fam. Facts. It can't be compared to anything we have ever seen before. It is the only one that has known finite supply. Send it, but to be realistic, it probably won't happen for a few decades. Ellen says digital, $7 billion for 1 Bitcoin, so never can you sell your Bitcoin. Just take out loans against it. 100%. Why would you ever sell your Bitcoin when you can borrow against it as collateral? And it is the most perfect form of pristine collateral to ever exist. There's no denying that. Decades is right, says Passive. Word, OG Backroad Crypto Bootleg. What it do? Welcome. Melda says, I like the all-time highs here. Word up. Wish Bitcoin would be 1 mil by the end of the year. That would be great. I agree with you, Ellen. Send it. Maybe we'll have that party here in Puerto Rico a lot sooner than anticipated. Once investors see Bitcoin over 6 figures, you will see the ETFs purchasing as much as they can while it's cheap, and the wealthy will be buying more and just hold forever to borrow against it, says Coin Father. Word up. Then all the relatives who keep telling me I am crazy, I can walk by and say, hey, suckers. Or you can just rock a t-shirt like Max Kaiser that says told you so. Right, Ellen? As long as the feds keep printing, I keep BTFD. Word. Let's go, Boz. Wayne, what up? All these $1 million predictions, but nobody can say where the price will be by the end of the year. Well, let's talk about it. Of course we can talk about that. Where's the price likely to be by the end of the year? I'm praying north of $40,000. I think we're going to be way above 30,000. I think obviously we're going to be above where we are now in the 20s. I think we're going to start marching north. But what are your thoughts, fam? I don't think new all-time highs before the end of the year. It's a possibility, but I don't think it's probable. I think the new price discovery mode we enter will be in 2024 leading up to the halving, potentially post-halving. Then I think by the year 2025, we'll hit the cycle peak and it will be 6 figures, potentially a multiple 6-figure price action. But what are your thoughts, fam? Please do share. Maybe it will be a very Merry Christmas. I remember in 2017, Bitcoin was a very Merry Christmas, and also in 2021. So who knows? Let's see. You got to do what you got to do. Macro Fidel says, see, keep in mind, this only happens if we don't dump on every bull run. If it does go up and no one sells, this could skyrocket. Skim just 0.00xx of the top forever. Word. We'll send it and let's go. Macro whales will continue to dump while the price is cheaper than its value. And as long as Bitcoin can prove to stay at its valuation, then it won't do mass dumps anymore, says Coin Father. To the moon, says Chew. Word. The best cure for low prices is low prices. Word up, Wayne. Well, I hope all your dreams and futures come true. Likewise, Ellen. Appreciate that. The Fed is maintaining its rate just in. That's right, Jack Ono. Appreciate the insights. Kaiser, the machines of creation. Hey, GV, rocking on, mate. I appreciate you, fam. Yeah, J Pal likes talking junk, making no sense. Yeah, what else is new, Ellen? Bitcoin's value is 53,000, and after the halving, it'll be 92,000. Send it and let's go. Yes, there is a Discord, Ellen. It's discord.cryptonewsalerts.net. You can also find all the resources and links in the show notes below the video, in the description, as it's listed there each and every day. I really don't know how it can be that high. There is no ceiling. Well, Bitcoin has no ceiling because fiat has no bottom, so that's a reality. It is what it is. I caught the Bukele speech. Nothing Bitcoin specific. That is right. Unfortunately, he didn't specifically discuss Bitcoin. It was more focused on El Salvador turning around from being the most dangerous country, one of the most dangerous countries in the world, absolutely the most dangerous country in all of Latin America, to becoming the safest, comparing it now to the safety of Canada, which is considered a safe spot, near North America here. Obviously much safer than the United States, so they've done a complete 180. Much respect to Nayib Bukele and the beautiful people of El Salvador doing their thing. We can only hope that everything goes well and we're all healthy and soon wealthy. Word up, Ellen. Preach. It is what it is. I'm usually silent. That has been my plan. Silence. It's been 13 years and only 23,000, and you think it'll be worth $1 billion in 5 years. It's a possibility, Kevin. there you go. It is what it is. Stacking, I think that's easier. I probably move away. I'm looking for somewhere to go. Where's the most ideal location if you had the opportunity to relocate you and your family anywhere in the world? Where would that be, fam? I'd love to know. And let's say money wasn't an issue. Bitcoin price right now is hypothetically $1 million. Where would you relocate to? I think that's a good question. Juan Magal, 7 billion worth would be 147 quadrillion, not a trillion, bro. Which is pretty unlikely. Young Ryu, JV, bravo. You are a great hero. Thanks so much. You're very welcome. Shout out to Ryu. Brings me back memories of playing Street Fighter at the arcades as a kid. I take about $14 million today to live like a millionaire of the 1920s. Yes, that's all. Thanks for the info. What's going on, JV? You're very, very welcome. Good stuff. Jixer, last halving, we didn't have inflation and the money printer was printing. Word up. 150,000 to 7 billion. Jeez, says Patrick Anderson. Renee, all of these crazy numbers. Well, welcome, Renee. Anyone else see the descending wedge on the daily for Bitcoin? Ask Jeff. Anyone? Let us know. Made it home safe. Catching the end of the show. Shout out to McLovin. Word up. Be Bitcoin greedy, says XX. Word, McLovin, you know what we do, love or hate fiat, but yeah, we all wait for billions and trillions of fiat to come in. Wasn't it interesting how the Fed can just print unlimited amounts of money? You know what I mean? And isn't it interesting there is no oversight? That's very interesting to me. I mean, when they gave out the stimulus, I don't know the exact amounts. Maybe it was $1,400 for every American. And everyone's like, yes, print more money. We want the free money. But they're giving you a small portion of what they're printing. So hypothetically, 99.9% of the money they print goes to the criminals at the top. And then the 1% or whatever the number ends up being goes to the actual people. You know what I mean? So now you have to pay for that through inflation. So that's where we're at right now. You thought that was free money? Hell no. Do you notice things cost more? Gas costs more. Food costs more. You know what I mean? Living expenses cost more. Houses cost more. Rent costs more. That's because you wanted some free money. That's the consequence. We don't want the government in control of our money supply. Bitcoin changes the game. It's decentralized. It's incorruptible. It's unconfiscatable. It's borderless. It is perfect money. And it is the escape valve. It's the way to unplug from the matrix. You just simply enter the BTC. And I truly mean that. Now, without Bitcoin, we'd almost be hopeless because we'd have no other choice but to accept the money they give us through CBDCs. Now, we all know that CBDCs is programmable money the central banks will be using to ultimately control us. Whoever controls the money supply controls the people. But when you have a money not controlled by anybody because it's only controlled by mathematics, well, then you can't be controlled. Hence why Bitcoin is the antidote to the central bank digital currencies. And that's why it is so important to be stacking now while Bitcoin is at a discount of only where we at, 26, 27,000. Because in a few years, you're probably never going to see the Bitcoin price action under $100,000 ever again. Would you rather start stacking then or start stacking now? The ball is in your court. You know what I mean? And I truly mean that, fam. Let me know if you guys can feel that. Beer is essential for life. I'm not a fan of beer, just saying. Bitcoin is the apex of assets for sure, 100%. Bitcoin is the apex predator. You can't even try to compare it to gold because gold, number one, it's confiscatable. It's not borderless. Try traveling with it. They'll probably just confiscate it and take it away from you. Also, it's nowhere near scarce as Bitcoin is. Bitcoin has a finite limited supply, whereas gold, there is a new amount of gold introduced to the market each and every year. They can invest more money into extracting more gold out of the earth. So we know it's controlled. Also, how many times have big banks and institutions like JP Morgan Chase had to pay massive fines for spoofing and manipulating the precious metal markets? In fact, just a couple of years ago, they paid over a $900 million fine because they got caught red-handed. And if you think about the logic in that, do you think the US government And the people who print the money want the gold value to continue rising against the dollar when it undermines the US dollar. Because if it did, let's hypothetically say gold was 10,000 announced today versus closer to 2,000. Well, a lot of people will have their dollars in the bank, would remove it out of their savings accounts, earning virtually zero yield and really losing 20% per year in inflation, and put it in gold. So it's not in their best interest to do so. And you also got to consider who hoards most of the gold supply in the world. It's the central banks around the world. So I believe gold is perfect money for central bankers. Bitcoin is perfect money for you and I, the people. And that's what makes Bitcoin so valuable. You know what I mean? I truly believe that. Anyways, fam, now for a recap of what I cover with you here in today's show. We discussed the latest technical analysis as the Bitcoin price retests 27,000 support as the Fed holds their interest rates at the FOMC. We also discussed Bitcoiners stacking them sats as inactive Bitcoin supply hits yet another all-time high. We also discussed Grayscale filing for a new Ethereum futures ETF according to their official report, as well as Bitcoin NFT Ordinals. I broke down the latest regarding the creator proposing to change the inscription numbering system. We also discussed crypto analyst William Clemente says a setup for a big Bitcoin performance is increasingly favorable, and I shared why. We also discussed officially the most bullish price prediction that exists, which is $7 billion per coin, according to the crypto veteran investor, predicting this, and even shares the math of how it's possible. Repeating him here, the first valuation framework is simple, that there's $6.3 trillion of global trade that happens on a daily basis. And if you divide 6.3 trillion by 900 Bitcoin that are minted on the day, you get $7 billion per coin. Also broke down for you Fidelity, one of the largest asset managers in the world. They're predicting a $1 billion Bitcoin price by the year 2038. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Peace.